Hey guys, um, I'm gonna do a live improvisation and discussion as you guys have been requesting, but I want to make sure the audio works first. So when somebody logs on, if you could, let me know that the audio is working, because I have it rigged through a whole system here that will make it sound better for you. Let's see if that ends up working. It works? Awesome. Can you hear the piano? I put like some reverb on the piano. Does it sound like, can you hear the behind it? I'm about to listen to it myself also here. Oh yeah, that's working great. Sick. All right, guys. So you can stay tuned for this this sort of thing. Now I have the whole rig set up here in Tiny Room Studios in LA, so I'm gonna do some improvisations and keep track of things that you like of what I'm doing, because I'll sort of like open it up to some Q&A after the improvisation. I'm just gonna get to it. All right, I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to go too long that I don't have time for discussion. Anybody have any questions about the improvisation? Decided to try this as a live stream for the first time. We'll see if it works. I can also like keep playing if nobody has any questions. But I don't have too long right now. I feel like I haven't practiced today yet, so my chops are not what I'd like them to be. Dr. D, your question about the G minor to E flat minor to B minor. That's just playing in major thirds. It's kind of like giant steps. Use the same keys actually, but in major. You know, But if you do it in minor, then you got like... Well, if you start on B minor, it's still the same planing. It's just movement, like any other movement, because you could go down in minor thirds, let's say, instead of major thirds. There are a couple different ways to transition between the keys. Like, you can pick a note that is consistent between the two keys. So like the B flat on G. Sorry about the angle, by the way. This is the only way that I can hook it up to my my system here, so that it sounds good for improvisation rather than just the phone microphone. I'm actually using the good mics on the piano for this. So like the B flat there is consistent between, it's the minor 3 of G and also the 5 of E flat. So if you're thinking melodically, that could be your goal note. And then when you go to the B, you could move it down a half step, so it's the 7. But don't make that your only progression. Experiment with all sorts of progressions. You can make like go down a minor third and up or down a major third up a half step. So then you've got like back to the original one. So it's just like any sort of progression that you make could be then made into a song. And you know, you can also do the 5-1. That's a great thing if you're transitioning to E flat and you're in G. Do like G minor to B flat 7 to E flat minor. That's a great way to transition. Thanks, Dr. D. So I'll real quickly answer a couple of these questions. Actually, there's the who's my favorite classical composer. I would say Schoenberg is my favorite classical composer. The rhythmic element of his playing is just incredible. And then Jan, convincingly playing outside the changes, you have to know how to play inside and then extend from there using superimpositions and upper extensions. And I have videos on those, but for example, 5-1. So you're on G7, and you can superimpose the A flat minor, A flat melodic minor. There, so if you play an A flat melodic minor, you're sort of playing outside the changes. But it still has it still is inside in a way where it then resolves to C when you want to. So you never want to play like just with no connection to the changes, but you want to distance yourself by layers. So that's one layer. If you wanted to go another layer, take that and move it down a half step and do an idea. So, and then do the same idea in A flat. And then that leads you directly back down. So it's playing outside the changes, but with calculated motivic development that leads you back into the changes, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, no problem, Jan. Sato, that's a good question. I feel like I think you're going at it from the wrong direction. You don't want to you don't want to have a huge combination of notes and then think about being melodic within that huge combination of notes. You want to have the smallest amount of notes possible and then think about being melodic with those smallest notes possible. One thing that I did to practice when I was learning McCoy-Tyner technique for myself, I would think about his question and answer thing, like up is a question and down is an answer in the most basic terms, but then use two notes and just experiment for a long time using those two notes. Like, what does it mean to go, or, those are two very different things using the same two notes. You're very, very limited, but now you can develop using that. So you can do a whole solo. It's a very basic solo, but you like. And then when you get advanced enough, add one more note. And you know, you keep going and you're actually speaking with the limited number of notes. And then you add to it gradually. That's what allows you to know what a melody actually is. And then you add another. That's the idea. Yeah, and yes, you can improvise harmony. You just have to know your way around the piano. The more that you can practice transitions between chords, and the more you get to know it, the more you'll be able to improvise the harmony. Because the harmony is just, I mean, everybody who's composed anything improvises harmony because they're making a melody and they're making harmony, and it has to come from somewhere. I'm just thinking in counterpoint, what the bass note is, what the melody is, and what the harmony is in between. That's all improvised, but I'm changing the harmony around. And yes, I do practice bebop sometime. Well, I used to. When I was starting out, I didn't practice bebop that much. Bebop is just enclosures extrapolated out into interesting lines that have to do, that take into strong consideration harmonic development, melodic development, more melodic than harmonic, really. And those are all taking snippets of different bebop lines that I've studied. I've got some sheets up somewhere on these videos where I list a bunch of bebop lines. All right. I think that's all I'm going to do for today. I'm not feeling super free today. Like, I don't know. That's one of the reasons that I'm going to keep coming back and doing these, is because it helps me learn to try to be in the moment while I'm under a sort of pressure, like, because this is live. So when I can improvise and actually be present of what I'm improvising, despite the fact that you're watching me, then I'll be better and able to do it more in other live settings. So anyway, thanks for logging on and helping me to practice this stuff. And I will